Welcome to Semper Sometimes with Benny, another episode of The Suck, and today I have my man Manny with us. What is good?
Chilling, bro. Getting ready to, move out San Diego, get back to the fleet, and enjoying some leave, getting back to being yourself, getting back into shape and stuff like that.
I like how you said being yourself. So what do you mean by that off the rip?
Just man, recruiting. It's I like to say that the recruiting is not the real Marine Corps, so you gotta, I wouldn't say put up a front, but it's different. You gotta conduct yourself a lot differently than you would back in the fleet. And even as you gotta be personable in recruiting. So they say you let your personality shine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still like it's not 100% natural. So getting back to being yourself as in the Marine aspect when you get back to the fleet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So being okay. So going back to like reality, I guess.
Yes.
Like uniforms that isn't deltas.
That and then just dealing with Marines that you have to that E3 and below, having different, not recruiting duties very different to how you interact with your leadership, or like you constantly talking to people, master guns, all these other people.
Yeah.
Whereas in the fleet, you have like a meeting in the morning, maybe depending on where your MOS is, and it's about it. Mostly interaction is with E3 and below, maybe the sergeant, maybe.
Yeah. And you're not talking to majors like,
Nah,
hey, what's going on, sir? Like,
definitely not talking to your CO every day. Having your CO call you, congratulating you, or saying, hey, what's going on with this every day. Depending on where you are, because I'm pretty sure maybe some admin Marines deal with that. But me and avionics, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not talking to my CO. If I am, I'm doing something wrong.
So how do you right now, that's kind of what I want to talk about, is just, are you excited? Are you worried? Are you afraid of going back to the fleet? Is there anything that you're like, oh my, like, are you nervous? Are you nerve-wracked? Or is it just like, yo, it's time to get the fuck out of here and just get back to life?
I would say I'm excited. I'm not really nervous, only because like as much as recruiting sucked, it does it's have a lot of benefits. Like I'm not scared to talk to nobody. I'm not worried about when I get to the fleet being able to interact with anybody. I've been through the hardest 3 years you can experience, in my opinion, in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And then getting to that, the fleet's going to be kicked, because I was already good at my job before I left.
Yeah.
And especially at the level that I'm going to be returning to. So I'm not worried about it at all. And I do hear a lot. I don't know if you heard this.
Yeah.
That the Marine Corps is very different. That when I'm going back to, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And but that's something's part of life. There's always going to be an evolution of things. So I'm not really too worried about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do think about it. I talk to a lot of my close friends that are in my MOS. I have one of my close friends that he's overseas, and he told me, hey, because we were both at the schoolhouse before I went on recruiting duty. So I was talking to the new generation of Marines that were coming, up the pipeline, and I went from there to recruiting. So I already had an idea of, how the kids will come into the Marine Corps. But even those kids are different from the kids that are in the fleet now. I'm talking to my staff and COs.
Yeah. So what was the recruiting duty like for you? Like how did you? Well, actually, before we even get into that, I remember my first all hands meeting y'all. Like I remember seeing you, Jackman, Ebach, and I remember looking at y'all and telling you, like, I looked at you and I was like, bro, you're going to fucking kill it. And it was because of just your demeanor, your tenacity, and just even like not even having had a conversation with you, but just watching you interact with the Marines. I was like, bro, this guy's going to be a monster. So how did you receive the duty? How did you feel? Like, did you enjoy it? What was the past 3 years of life for you?
That's a loaded question. But it's funny you say that. The first thing you said, I remember when I first met you, I was actually telling my friend about that you helped me out a lot. Because the first all hands I go to, I see you getting a bat, and I think at the time it was probably a 6 one. I don't know if it was the gold one or if it was still silver. Yeah. Either way, both of those means you wrote a couple bats, couple fours. Yeah. So I'm like, this guy, I'm gonna pick his brains. You know what I mean? Because and as soon as you came off of there, when get to the break, I went right up to you and said, yo, teach me. Like, I need let me know what works for you. Like, let me pick your brain. Yeah. You were open book. That's why always whenever I seen you, I always came up to talk to you, because I really appreciate that. Because you don't have to do that. There's some people that don't care about putting people on, letting them peep game. That's not everybody that's like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, right away you let me know, like, listen, man, you can't be scared. You gotta just throw yourself out there. Yeah, you have a good personality. We're both from New York, so we talked about that a little bit, and we just you let me know that the biggest thing that you can do is just not be scared. Be genuine with it and do what you gotta do. And I kept that with me, and I passed that to other people too. That and one of the biggest things you told me as well when you closing, you told me about the chart, about the tier, how to do that. Hey, this so many. You gave me the tricks of the trade, and I always appreciated that. And that's why I needed to come on this podcast when you asked me to come, because I'm like, how can I not pay homage to somebody who put me on and really set me up for success? I really appreciate that. Yeah. But the duty, it's good and bad, a lot of ups and downs. First getting into the duty, I'm the type of person that anywhere that I've ever worked, anything I've ever started, I've always worked extremely hard, because I know that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And then you also have some natural talent, so you mix them together, you're gonna be killing it. Recruiting duty was the first place in my whole life that when I tried doing it, and you do everything right, you can still suck.
Yeah.
And that just oh my god, that completely mind fucked me. I was like losing it. And I one of my best friends in the Marine Corps, he's just like that, but a little bit more extreme than me. He's also on the streets as well. I say, well, as he's working, he's the same way. So when I got out to recruiting, I let him know, and I had a little group chat with him and my other friend. I was like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm doing everything, and there's something in me, like, I hate to suck. I hate to suck at something. If I'm doing something, I hate to suck at it. Not because I want to be the best or anything like that, but I don't like to make others around me suffer for my inabilities or something like that. So I just don't like to not be good. Yeah. I mean, I'm very competitive. Not because I want to be better, but I just want to be good. I want to like to be respected for what I do. So the first month I get on recruiting duty, I'm doing everything they tell me to do. I'm making these phone calls and all this stuff. Extremely challenging, and it's just not working out. Yeah. And it's because obviously recruiting duty, you have to build the bucket. You have to you got to get your at bats in, and you got to get the reps in. And once you start figuring it out, it's smooth from there. Yeah. But the beginning isn't that smooth for everybody. Yeah. So that was the biggest part that sucked. I lost my first 2 months of recruiting duty. I lost 15 pounds just stressing out. Just not eating, and I'm calling. I'm talking to my friends. I'm calling him. He's a recruiter now. I'm letting him know, yo, bro, I don't know what's going on. I'm doing everything. They all my last command when I left, they all thought I was gonna be a 12 or recruiter type stuff. Just because I'm very personable. I love, I'm very friendly. Yeah. And that did help me on recruiting. But initially, kids don't give a shit about that. When they see you, they're just thinking what they think. Yeah,
and especially because you're from New York, so you're Toms River is not New York.
Not at all.
So you're the sore thumb in this, you know what I mean? You're not in the same area, so you had to adapt to this new area. So one of the things I want to talk about was just you're talking about how and this is something that I realized a lot, is that and now that I think about it, and when I was a staff in COIC, you don't allow Marines to you're saying the first couple of months were hurt because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why it wasn't working out. And a lot of times when you're a staff in COIC, you're not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about, oh shit, Torres needs me to explain X, Y, and Z and why this and this is happening. I'm just letting you fall on your face because I'm worried about phase lines, mission, and all this stuff. Meanwhile, I really need to be looking at you hey man, this is going to happen. Hey man, it's okay that this happened. But realistically, it's shit, I let Manny fall on his face. So my question for you was really how did you have were the recruiters in the office, the senior guys, the A-gunners, were they kind of helping you up through all this? How was the staff in COIC during this time?
So staff in COIC at the time, I feel like he was great. He was a good dude. He wasn't riding me too hard, because as soon as I got there, I got pretty, I would say lucky, because I do believe in luck on recruiting duty. Someone says it's not lucky, then I don't believe that at all. But there's definitely luck on. I'm not superstitious, but on recruiting duty, I don't know. That's where I gotta draw the line, because the first month I get there, I'm AC and I'm going everywhere. I'm like, yo, I'm Dominican, so I'm looking for Dominicans. Toms River, where I'm at, there's no Dominicans at all. At all.
None.
The whole time I was there in Tom's River, I probably met 5 Dominicans. That's all. Out of the whole time I've been out here in my AO, and I'm like, man, I'm tired. I walk into Chipotle because I'm like, I need to eat something. Like, I'm stressing out. Eat like in 2 days. I need to just take a break. When I walk in there, the cashier is a little Dominican kid. So I strike up a conversation, whatever. He's a reservist. He talked to somebody before. I sit down with him right there in his job. We start talking about it. I'm not even in uniform because they told me to go home because I was in what's it called? I was about to go to party next week. And
so this is the beginning.
Yeah. So I talked to this kid, and I end up the Dominican kid. I ended up talking to his parents. I ended up getting him to join, and he's a grad KG. We closed that month because I read that contract. So these guys already thinking, I'm going to be good. And then I go to party, everything. I come back, and he didn't ride me too hard because I wrote that one, right? But then I got that luck, so they think I'm going to be good. The next month I had 0.
Yeah.
And it's my full month, my first full month. It's my part month, but it's my full first month, and I just suck. I have a whole bunch of no-shows. I'm thinking people are gonna come in. It's the worst. The first month, we're like, yeah, come in. But like everybody thinks they're gonna come in. Doesn't work out. They don't come in. And you just start, stressing out. You're making these 100 phone calls a day, not working. You're getting these packs. You're getting nervous because the more stressed out you get, you lose sight of like the way you're supposed to do things. And it was hard. It was real hard. But my staff in CYC, he didn't ride me too hard because he saw something in me. He saw that I could write a contract. I just needed to figure it out. But that month was ridiculously hard. The other recruiters in the office, I had a dude that I was replacing that he extended for 6 months. They let him extend just so he can help out the staff in CRC there. And we were sharing the same AO. So he's a veteran recruiter. I'm not. He's in the AO. He's writing contracts, obviously. I'm not writing the contracts out of there. Jackman was there. Jackman's a beast, always been a beast. I've never seen him not be a beast. So he was doing his thing, He had a little bit more time than me there. But, it's Jackman. He's a monster. Shout out to Jackman. What's it called?
Bro, for real, shout out to that man.
Like, shout out Jackman.
Bro, I'm so happy for him because I saw him some other day, bro. Because like when they started talking about making him a staff in CYC, I was like, you need to. I was like, this dude, he should have been a staff in CYC well before he was a staff in CYC. There was no need for him to be at Tom's River as long as they needed, as long as he was there, because they were just studying his growth. And then when he got to AC and it was as effed up as it was, I was like, bro, you're gonna kill it, you're gonna fix it. I was like, relax. I was like, don't go in there immediately thinking you can change this shit overnight because you can't. But now he's doing great. He got meritoriously promoted. Like that shit's.
Yeah, I love Jackman, man. That's one of those dudes that as soon as I always told him as a staff sergeant. Like, he's starting Jackman, but I told him, you're staff sergeant, you just have sergeant chevrons on.
Yeah.
And then, I pinned him actually the staff sergeant. I love that guy. He's always been very, very genuine, and he's a great Marine recruiter. He's a great Marine, so well served.
So you looked up to him a lot?
Of course.
So isn't that crazy that you looked up to him a lot, but you were able to pin him because you got promoted before he did?
Mm-hmm. And I came over here. I came out
here.
I came out that month. Man, my first the first one we had, we played basketball, and before we actually had the everything. Gunny Edwards was there, and he thought I was like a corporal or something. Because we were like in I was 25 years old. I'm 25-year-old staff sergeant. I come out and we were in city, so I look super young. I recruited. I don't know how many times people thought I was 19. I went to one of the students thought I was in the ROTC when I was my uniform in there. I have a video like that on my phone. They really thought I was a student there. But
wow.
But yeah, I had someone like Jackman in there in the office that was helping me out. So the staff and CO, it's not like he took me out to do anything or anything like that. But he wasn't doing anything with it. The other recruiters in the office. I mean, the culture in the office wasn't the best I got there because it was like I got to hear me and you do your own thing, which it can help us. In some offices, it's like that. It can work out. Some, they want that team environment. But after my replacement left and the last boss left, me and Jackman kind of changed. I'm not gonna say kind of. We definitely changed the culture in there. Where we were like all looking out for each other, all pushing each other to be great. We didn't care about being the best. We always just wanted to make mission. We wanted our time off. We wanted to work as a team. We cared about each other. Where
And y'all had that time off. Like you guys made, and that's why it annoyed me that like there's so many people who are on recruiting duty who are like, bro, quality of life isn't a thing. Like y'all were making mission, and when y'all were making mission, y'all were living good. Like you were actually going out doing things. You were enjoying time. You were, you know. So what was the hard parts of the duty? Like coming towards it, like near it. Like well, actually before that, when did you figure it the fuck out? When did you start hitting it? Like shit started getting right for you. Like when did you figure out like, okay, this is Torres on recruiting duty. This is how I gotta be. Because you started writing bats, you started doing crazy things. You know, you got what names and shit. You know, so like how what was the transition piece, and how did it look like? Like what happened?
so I got there in February, and when I really turned the corner was in June. So it's the 30, 60, 90. You know, it's like it was the from February all the way to June of nonstop grinding, phone calls, building the bucket, getting your exposure out there. I coming in at the end of the school year basically, so I'm just calling those seniors and stuff like that. I'm not calling any juniors, but I'm in the school all the time. That's one thing I lived in my schools because when when you need to write contracts, the high schools that's the money maker. So I'm in there constantly. Every day I was at a different school, every single day. Or if I got into whatever school let me in there the most, I was just there all the time. So once June came, I had a whole bunch of juniors. So I wrote juniors. So I was really building that bucket, calling it and stuff like that. And that's when I got the book. I wrote in June. I wrote two. In July, I wrote four. August, I wrote four. And that's my first. That's when I started writing because those were the juniors that I had talked to a lot. The seniors didn't want to talk to me because the senior dude that was with me, he was the one that talking to them. He knew them from when they were juniors and stuff. So I was like just getting my feet wet. But I was there all the time, so the exposure matters. You have all the juniors seeing you. They see a different face, a fresh face, younger. A more personable, a lot younger than the dude that I replaced. And I was talking to a lot of them. And also, my biggest school on recruiting was a Pride 3 when I got there. I wrote one or two out of there. And then my last 2 years, I wrote I think 8 and 11 to 12 out of the Pride 3 school.
Yeah.
But they were considering changing to Pride 2. And I'm like, or Pride 1. And I'm like, you shouldn't do that because it was predominantly Hispanic schools. And it's not like I was getting a whole bunch of outfits, it's a lot of rivals, but it's still a contract. But at the same time, if you want to place me with someone in that school that speaks Spanish and that's going to care about those kids like I did, it's not going to be the same thing. Yeah. The other schools do generate a lot of contracts, a lot of smart kids out of there as well. But still,
so how did you? Because one of the things you just said is caring about the kids and being in the school. How did you? Was it a lot of it? Do you think a lot of it was that? Like, did the teachers see that you cared? Did the teachers see, was that one of the things that you were doing? Was being, heavy into the community and heavy into the schools?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'll be completely honest. The biggest reason I was successful on recruiting duty is because the area I wrote the most contracts out of is called Lakewood.
Okay.
Lakewood is full of just, a lot of immigrants, a lot of lower income people. Uh-huh. I'm Dominican. I come from immigrants. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. You know what I mean? So I know that there's a lot of diamonds in the rough there.
Yeah.
You just need to give them the right reason to be motivated to. Because all the kids in Lakewood, they were all working crazy hours. Like they went to school. So that's the reason. That's the only reason they weren't smart. Because they would be working. They come out of school, go to work freaking 8 hours, and they go to sleep and wake up, go to school. So no homework, nothing like that. But the ones that cared, when you sat down and told them, you got in front of them, I don't know how many of them I made cry, told them because they give a shit, they care about their mom and they do everything for their parents or their siblings, something like that. So I just showed them there was a better way to do it. And I give my experience, I let them know, I let them know how, your parents left a country to come with no guarantees to come over here. They could have died on the way here, no guarantees over here for you, but you can't do something that's guaranteeing you, a better life. And you need to get paid for it. So I just that's why I wrote the most contracts out of it because those kids they understand what it is to not have nothing, and when they see an opportunity, they'll jump at an opportunity to take advantage of it a lot more likely than someone that hasn't happened to grow up with that type of struggle. So everybody grows up with some type of struggle, but just in that Hispanic lower income community, a lot of those kids understand wow, you're telling me I can have this, and that, and all I gotta do is do what I'm already doing, work out, listen to people being, because a lot of them are in sports too. Most of the whole wrestling team joined the last 2 years. So
oh damn.
Yeah, so and they're good kids. They just need an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them they don't get that because when you look at them and you see the test scores and you see the ethnicity something like that, they can be looked at a certain way. So that's why I was so successful. The teachers didn't really help me out there too much, anything like that. And other teachers, and not because they didn't want to or anything like that. Just like they're just doing their job. I didn't go to them and ask them because.
So you just got tight with all the kids and became like a family member to them and their families, and you just got in.
Yeah.
And you were real with them.
That was a big piece because their parents. A lot of times, these Hispanic parents, they're real big on not letting the kids join because of they think they're all going to go to war or something like that. Like a lot of parents think that, but more Hispanic because they're not, Hispanic people aren't taught this, and it's not advertised to them. They don't have like a pamphlet or anything like that. The only thing they know is what they see in the news and it's usually like war and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I had to call my mom, put her on a speaker, so because my parents had the same experience where they didn't understand the military, so they all thought I was just gonna go and shoot and die or something like that. So I had to break that down to them, and I had to go over a lot of parents, people's houses, talk for hours, multiple visits, whatever it took. But I know how it is. I'm a parent myself. Probably the biggest struggle I had being a single parent on recruiting for the longest.
Yeah.
But so it was very challenging, but at the same time very rewarding.
Yeah. So how was that? How was that being a single father on recruiting duty? And then I know, I don't know if you want to talk about it and get into it, but I know you had a huge COVID hit, and then you were doing recruiting duty, being a father, teaching your son, right?
Yes.
Teaching your son while balancing recruiting duty, driving in and out of Brooklyn, doing all this crazy shit. And the thing is that you never let it stop you from being successful. And I remember there was that time period where I remember when I was getting off the duty, the RI had come in and you had I guess there was a time where you didn't write contracts, but it was because you were working from home, and you were well, I wasn't
in the office,
but they never took you off the bag, so they never took you off the production and stuff like that. So how did that? What was how did mentally, physically, emotionally, how was that experience as a father, as a Marine, as a recruiter,
And that's tough. One of the toughest times I've ever been through. So, boom, COVID hits. I write a 0 in March, April, and May. All 3 months, I don't step a foot in the office because, like you said, I live in New York. I'm a single dad. My son goes to Catholic school. Everything in New York is shut down. I have family members passing away, and going through COVID. I'm pretty sure I was the only Marine recruiter in New Jersey that lived in New York that was going through this type of stuff. And my son he wasn't having Zoom classes with his teachers. Teachers would send us, hey, this is the syllabus. This is what we need to do today. So I had to be my son's teacher, kindergarten. They sent me what to do. I sit down with him one-on-one and I do that. My dad doesn't speak any English, so he can't sit down. He gets laid off during the quarantine as well.
Yeah.
So he can't do anything. My mom's a teacher for all kids with autism, and she's in public school. So she was actually having Zoom classes with those students. And she has a daughter that's 9 at the time, and 8 years old at the time. So she couldn't teach my son because she has to do her own thing. So I'm teaching my little sister and my son. Doing both, right? At the same time, I'm expected to prospect. And my prospecting numbers admittedly look like shit. Because then I'm at a crossroads, right? Do I care about, production and calling these kids when I can't sit down and have interviews with them? Or if I do, I have it on Zoom. But at the same time, I gotta, worry about my son's education.
Yeah.
Which one's gonna matter more to me? And admittedly, I'm gonna care more about my son just because that's my son. I said it multiple times on recruiting. If I pass away, Marine Corps throws another recruiter in my spot. Yeah. My son doesn't get another dad you know what I'm saying? You can't replace that. So I had to take I had to do what I had to do for that. And I'm getting, my step CO is getting, bitched out about, let's go with class production. This is that. This is this. I have family members dying. This is going on. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it's COVID. You know what I mean? They gotta let me slack for this because I can't even go to the office. I can't do anything. There's no one in the RS doing this.
Bro, I'll tell you this, man. When this was going on, I was a staff at COIC. I remember when I was in staff at COIC meetings, and your staff at COIC would bug out.
Yeah, he went bad for me.
And I'm telling you, bro, he shout out to Gunny Griff, man, because he would literally go to bat, and he would be like, y'all mother, he would get up and he'd be like, in a professional way,
of course,
but he'd be like, I have a Marine whose family is dying, and you're calling me asking about production numbers. And he'd be like, and so he would. I remember like when that whole thing was going on, man. And then, so my question to you is like, what was the command doing to help you, or were they just not even like recognizing that this was going on? Like,
No.
and then what do you think could have been done better? Like, and granted, we're not them. We don't know what their position is, right? But like, how are you feeling at that time from your senior leadership?
I can't fault the command at all, at all. And the reason I can't fault them is because one, this is a new experience for everybody involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't hold any like negative feelings towards the leadership at the time because they were going through unprecedented times, and they were still expected, like we were expected to make a mission.
Yeah.
So I was never mad about them complaining about what I was doing as long as I didn't get in trouble for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, and I didn't. So they were bugging out just like anybody else would be bugging out, and I understood that. The only thing I didn't like is that they held me accountable in regards to like my fear for what's it called
Yeah, I remember that.
the production months.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I didn't agree because I was the only recruiter in New Jersey that could not physically set foot in their office. So how am I supposed to? I mean, I had no like a time to just let me just do this. Like no, like I'm in my house in New York. My mom, my dad's laid off. I have my grandma, no one coming out. So anything that had to be done, I was taking care of it. My mom always said it was like God made everything happen how it happened. Because if I wasn't in New Jersey, if I wasn't living in New York at the time, as a single dad, they would have been fucked because my dad got I was I'm paying the bills. My dad gets laid off. So my mom's working as a teacher. Like whenever they did groceries, I was the one doing it. So it was not much that we could do. So if I wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to do that. And what's funny is the second I stepped foot in the office in June, my son graduated kindergarten. I do his graduation in my backyard and everything like that. The third week of June is the first week that I actually get back in the office for. The first in just 2 weeks, I write one contract. Because I'm there and it's a new contract. It's not, I'm not sitting ahead in the bucket because obviously I would get there 2 weeks, write a contract. Then July comes 3, August again 4. July and August is my money months, always. And so I write 3, 4, 3, 2, 4. And then I'm thinking, my trip's going to be solid. I went this offensive over the summer for some, and they give me like a picture fair or something like that, a little bust. And I'm thinking, my trip's going to be solid because, you know what I mean? Like, I showed you that once I'm in, when I'm in the office, I can do my job. But if I'm not there, if I'm restricted, we expect me to do
another state.
Exactly. But I can't fault them too much. I guess it wasn't communicated. What I got back is it wasn't communicated that I was living in New York for all 3 of those months or something like that. And the reason I moved to New York initially was because I was starting to struggle towards the like November, December, my first year recruiting because my son at first was living with his mother out there when I first got there in Utah, and when he got back because his mom was deployed, he was with me in Jersey, and it was rough because my son went to school in Lakewood, and then I'd have to drop him off in the morning, go to the office, then he gets out like 2:00. 2:00 is a prime recruiting, and my I had to like be doing prospecting, but I had to go pick him up, bring him back to my office. So I pick him up in my regular car. I can't use my golf because I'm picking up my son. Pick him up, drive him back to my house. So it's the office. Hey, do homework here while I'm calling and doing interviews and stuff like that. If I gotta pick up a kid, I got to the boss. Hey, I gotta leave my son here and go pick up a kid in my golf. Come back. So all this too. So and then my son has to go to sleep by a certain time. So I gotta leave the office by 6, bring him back home, shower, eat dinner, go to sleep, and you can't be home from 6 to 8 if you're a recruiter, bro. Especially when you're in your first year in the back. So I start slipping. My numbers here: 4, 3, 2. All right, 0. The next month I rebound with 4 because I moved to New York that same month of January, and I had a senior leadership at the time. I don't want to say any names like that.
Yeah.
But they told me like, yo, I appreciate you doing that. It's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing that for the state. I'm not doing that so I could be, because if I move there, I can continue to do this. And my son was fine, but I want to be able to help the guys in my office, help the state more. So I do that for that. And then when I go to New York and this happens, the pandemic breaks out, it's like, man, I don't care. So that, complete opposite, bro. I moved here because I do give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I got my fear up, and I saw.
So before you get into that, real quick,
Yeah.
why did you care so much? Why did you care so much? Because there's so many other Marines out there that wouldn't give a shit. They'd be like, you know what? I'm just not gonna give a fuck. I'm not gonna go as far as to moving to doing all this shit. Like, why did you care so much about it, like, and about succeeding?
I'm just wired that way, man. Like and I credit that to my mom. I have a really big heart. Yeah, this is how I was raised. Where I have, it's like a double-edged sword, man. I care about everybody I meet, and like I'll give you the shirt off my back type of thing. So, um, I I I knew if I suck, the guys in the office that I care about, they're the ones that are gonna suffer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just sucks because it's you want them to spend time with their families. You want them to be able to do things. And I also and I like to be good at what I do. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have that competitive nature in myself. And but the biggest thing is just that, like, if I can help someone out, and you if you talk to the Marines around the RS here, like you talk to me, you talk to Rincon. I'm probably the only recruiter that would call different offices when I saw that someone wrote a contract to, like, yo, bro, good shit, you wrote 4.
Oh shit, you
And
did that?
Yeah, and they'd be like, who's this? I'm like, it's Stories. Like, oh, bro, I appreciate it. Yeah, you can ask. Ask. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yo, I never did that. I should have been doing that.
Yeah,
Yo.
I love to show love, bro. I love to show love. It's all about showing. I love that because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like in a world like this, you see a lot of negative things.
Yeah.
When do you ever get a random like?
Yeah.
That's why to them, they you know, I still talk to a lot of the recruiters today because you know I'm showing them love. But the only person showing them love was the CEO. CEO's the only person. Man, a lot of senior leadership. When you write a contract, they'll call you and say, "Yo, I appreciate that."
Yeah.
And I love. I think that's dope that they do that.
Yeah.
But I think it means a lot more when you get it from recruiting a different office that doesn't even.
That's true. I never thought about it like that because, like, a huge thing that I talk about all the time is that, you know, the problem is that, like, Marine Corps recruiting duty, everywhere else in the Marine Corps, you talk about unit cohesion, you talk about these things. Recruiting duty, you have these individual RSSs that don't ever see the other RSs. So a lot of times, and like I don't know how you feel about it, but a lot of times, like, you're in your own bubble in this RSS, and you don't give a damn if the other office makes mission. It's like, bro, that's not on me, bro. That's on you. So, like, but if we created a better work ethic and a work environment to where we do things like that, now if AC meets a contract, you know what? I feel more inclined to give AC a contract because that's my boy over there. Because we've done that, but we miss the unit cohesion part because we're so busy on the bag and on the numbers that when we go to all hands, it's some crappy ass training where we learn about nothing, and then, you know, we go back and instead of actually getting that unit cohesion and getting that camaraderie and that Marine Corps, it kind of reflects.
I always, you know, when you say that, I've always heard a lot of times that New Jersey used to be different in that way back then, but then something happened. I don't know. I forgot what they say. They say something happened, and then people started. I guess someone came on deck, and they changed that. Like, oh, you can't help out this office. Fuck that. They need to hold their own weight. You know, that's what I heard. So I wasn't there for that though. I came towards the end of whoever came on deck some time. So that's what I heard changed the culture in regards to staff NCOs, like looking out for other staff NCOs. Like, yo, bro, I got you this month. Like, I know you'll be good for you. Got the next month.
Yeah.
That went away for a while because, like, hey, you missed it. No one's writing the contract for you.
Yeah.
And that was that person's idea of, like, keeping that person accountable. So I think that's how that went away. I've heard that multiple times, but I've never been there for that.
Yeah.
But what's it called? About all hands, I genuinely actually liked all hands. Not because of the training and anything like that, but that was the only time you got to meet other recruiters in the different RSSs, and I always love to talk to them, just because, like, you know, everybody's their own way of doing things, and I think the only way you get better is by learning from everybody and trying whatever, you know, you think sounds good. Because again, without all hands, I've never met you. I would never talk to you about, you know, the things that you've done, things you do. So. Yeah. And I wouldn't have been able to use that in my own way and stuff like that, or even teach that because I passed that.
And that's my thing is I think that needs to be more of what all hands is about, because, like, you only have a few minutes to do that in between breaks. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that should be what all hands is dealt with. Like, I get that we had to do MC3 modules and all that cool stuff, and we got to do awards, but, like, realistically, there should be a good hour to 2 hours for cross pollination. because like when we started doing that thing with Master O'Brien, when we were going to people's houses or restaurants and we were doing the small group training, we were getting so much more out of that because now we were sitting at the bar together. Excuse me. We were doing training together. We were doing lunch together. We were celebrating together. Like I remember, I had Gunny Enriquez come out to Freehold, and then we all went as two officers to the bar, and we had lunch, and we trained, and we talked about like, hey, what are you going through? Because that's the thing is like right now, what we're doing, nobody does this shit. Nobody talks about like, hey man, how was recruiting duty for you? How was it being a single father? And no one knows that. So like right now, if there's somebody who's coming out here who's a single father, they can listen to this episode and be like, oh shit, okay. So that's my question: is mentally, how tasking was this? Like anxiety, like did you have issues, like did you like were you ever like sitting in the car on your way to work like bro what am I doing, like were you like how was it mentally, and then how does it feel now knowing that this is in the rearview mirror, it's done, it's a chapter of your life that's completed?
Bro, man, this has been the most mental, stress I've ever endured in my whole life. And I thought I've had a lot happen to me before joining the Marines. Like my dad worked in Twin Towers, you know what I'm saying, like that. And I've had when that happened, I was in school. Everybody's parents picked him up except mine. So I was like, damn, maybe my dad died there. You know what I'm saying? I've gone to that. I had a little sister passed away 12 days after she was born. Oh, I've gone through these stressful mental things.
Yeah.
But nothing tops this. When I moved to New York, it was a 2-hour drive every day and a 2-hour drive back every night. And then recruiting duty, driving a shit ton, maps, all that stuff. So that in between as well, driving to prospect places, driving the maps back to map school, hotel runs back, everything. Yeah. So I was driving 6-8 hours a day, and then starting my day off with a 2-hour drive. Imagine waking up like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning just to drive 2 hours to get to work. Yeah. And then your day starts. Yeah. So it freaking blows. So that mental stress. So the mental stress of like finding time, single parent, finding time for your son. Do as much as you can with your son. I met my wife on recruiting duty. I met her in New York. So developing that relationship, that's one of the benefits of recruiting is that, our relationship was developed and flourished one of the most stressful of times. Mm-hmm. So now everybody get back to the fleet's going to be capable. Because, now she's going to probably get tired of seeing me so much. Yeah, recruiting, it was like,
you see 1 hour a week.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you this. Like, while this was going on, right, you're driving 2 hours to work, you're driving 2 hours home, you're doing all this stuff, right? Were you someone that was coming to like when you got to work, right, like at 8 a.m. or whatever, when you walked into the day, were you bitching about like, oh my god, I gotta do this, or were you just making it happen? Did you have a positive mental attitude? Did you find yourself like complaining? Did you find yourself like?
I did. I when I got to work, I didn't complain because we had a dude in the office that that's his life, just complaining, and we laughed about it a lot. I love him to death, a really good friend. I love him to death, and he knows he complains a lot.
Bro, that motherfucker's like Eeyore.
I love him though. We love him because that's him. Bro, like his rants, his rants made sense, but we just the other recruiters off. We just didn't do it because no one would do anything for us. But we let him. He ranted for all of it basically.
Bro, every time I was in the office, I only hung out with you guys for like 2. I think like maybe a month. If you add it all up, like, as I was transitioning out, and like listening. You're right, dude. Like listening to this dude's rants about recruiting duty, about the command, about kids, about police, about parents, like just listening to him. But like, and like you said, like he just was always like, but he also had like this kind of like Eeyore thing about him, where he'd be like, yes, Gunny, yeah.
The reason I want to see Eeyore because Eeyore's always like down, like he has a loud voice. He knows, I love him because he's loud. But one thing I do like is that at least he did that. Because imagine if he bottled that up. And he didn't if he didn't feel comfortable like bitching at us about all that stuff. Yeah. That
but he still worked though.
Exactly.
Like he bitched about it to y'all just in the RSS in the office, not around police, not around nobody else. He said what he had to say while he was making disgruntled TCs.
Yeah. But
So how was your positive? Like, did you have a positive mentality coming into the office every day? Did you find yourself complaining a lot? Because, like, in my opinion, a lot of what happens on this duty and as I'm speaking to you, I can see it. Is that like a lot of times you have two different people. You have the dude who's going to get attacked mentally, physically, and emotionally every single day, and then he's going to allow that to reflect his day. Then you have someone like you who is dealing with all this stuff, but you're like, okay, well, no matter how much I mentally think about this, it's only going to affect me negatively. So I have to push forward. I have to get through the day so that I can do those things at night. Is that kind of what was going on?
That and that. So a real big reason I was always happy when I was at work is I was super cool with Jackman. So he was my bro. So I was able to, and I got there. You know, when you're stuck in the suck with someone else, it makes it a lot easier, right? So I was stuck in the suck with Jackman, and he's a funny motherfucker. So we cracking jokes, talk about how these kids are this or that, and then they were like, you know what, bro? Hey, we just talked a lot of shit. Let's do a TC power hour. Put a timer. Boom, bullshit right there. We'll get our appointments. Then we can bullshit some more.
Yeah.
Then we got our interviews. If I had a white kid that came into the office that was a wrestler or something like that, I'm like, yo, Jackman, come write this guy. Straight up, I don't do it. I'm like, you know what? Because and that's not always. Because some of the kids when they come in, I don't give a shit where they're from. I can still close on them, but I'm like, I know for a fact that Jackman can be a lot more genuine with you. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Bro, I agree with that.
We didn't have a wrestling team in Brooklyn,
Bro,
New York.
I never. That's something I'm glad you brought up because that was how it was when I got to Atlantic City. Like I never saw that until I was the Sabbath, so I was in Atlantic City and Spears, like he'd be doing interviews and stuff, and then all of a sudden Spears would just like kid would come in, he'd put him on the East, and then all of a sudden like kid would finish the East and he'd be sitting down with the kid, and then all of a sudden he'd be like, yeah, no, and he'd get up and be like, hey Cardwell, come do this interview, bro. This kid's yours. Like, and it wasn't because of anything, it was just because their mentalities didn't match, their livelihoods didn't match, and it was like, bro, it's not that I can't write you, it's not that I can't put you in the Marine Corps, but I just don't feel like you belong to me as a like you shouldn't be my pulley type thing, and that's what they would do as an office, like him, Carwell, and Vega, like they would be like, hey man, you know, and they would just piggyback off each other and just hand this person off. So a huge part of it for you was just being able to have Jackman there and bullshit to go off of, and then be able to work alongside, and that's good too because like when you guys showed me that thing. With the like, I've done TC Power Hours before, but I never did it like y'all did it.
The bingo
until the bingo came along, and then y'all were doing TC bingo, and then like how you guys were doing like okay, well we're gonna put the timer on for an hour, and then all we're gonna do is TC. But if somebody stops, if somebody gets on the phone, we're gonna listen to them so we can help them through the phone call and stuff like that. So now you guys are training yourself. And it makes it a lot more fun than like, okay, we know we got to make the TCs, but if we make it into a game, if we make it into a competition, if we make it into the shit, well, now, okay, you know what? Making TCs is a lot better. And you're going to get a hell of a lot more TCs done when you bang them out for an hour.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a big part of recruiting is understanding it's going to suck no matter what. You got to like find the happiness in the littlest things. And even though TCs suck to make, we found a way to kind of like mask how much this sucked that we're doing this, but have fun while at the same time we're doing it. And then while you're happy,
whose idea was that? Like when did that happen? Like how did it come up? Like
I have no idea, but I'm accredited to Jackman anyways, just because I tell you that he's just a ball of happiness and energy. You know, it's funny when I first met Jackman, he had the most negative experience with staff and SEALs. Like he thought all staff and SEALs were just douchebags. All staff sergeants are going to be douchebags, right? And he met me, I'm a staff sergeant. He's like, why do you care? You know what I mean? And I was like, bro, what do you mean why I care? It's supposed to be like this. The only staff sergeant I ever met like that. I'm like, well, you can be like that too. You know what I'm saying? And Jackman's not a douchebag. And
no.
It's very refreshing for him. You know what I'm saying? Because Jackman, when I met him, he's at a point like maybe I'm probably gonna do this and get out. I'm like, why? You know?
Wait, really?
Yeah. When I first met him,
wow.
Because man, the people in the office, the way that the culture was like again selfish type of stuff. And I told him you don't need to be like that, bro. And that's why he had me pin him.
That's
because
dope,
I was a big influence.
I didn't know that.
I was a big influence on
because I was talking to him the other day about it. I was asking him like if he was going to become 12 and like how things were going, like congratulations. I think it was yesterday, and then I asked him because I really want to understand. Like I know why I wanted to be at 8412, but you know I want to understand from his point on because his package is actually being submitted. I want to understand from his point of view why he wants to be at 12 because everybody and their mother all they do is say, "Oh, 12 suck. 12s are the worst. It's the 12's fault. That this, and the third." So it's like, okay, well, I want to understand from somebody, okay, why did you just go through this hard ass 3 years of your life, and now you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna become a 12. And especially when COVID's going on, Emerald's going on, like in the height of stuff that no one's ever dealt with, you're deciding, hey, I want to be a 12. And he's someone that has combat deployments under his belt. So it's not like, and that's the thing that's funny is because like you have all these people who are on Facebook like, oh, people that become 12s are dodging deployments. It's like, bitch, just shut up. Like, you know what I mean? So I want to understand from him before he becomes that 12, like, hey, why do you want to do this thing?
Man, so obviously people are gonna have their opinions about 8412s, but the Marine Corps cannot continue without the 8412. And that's as much as people like to say, like a lot of people say, oh, 12 to recruit, 12s have an easy job. I can see why they have to be a certain way, and because you have to be naive to think that the Marine Corps can continue to run how it is if things aren't done a certain way, right? So I was thinking about that on the way here, where a lot of people just hate 12s. They think that 12s are just inherently do not like, not care, this and that. It's just the nature of the beast. If the 12 decides to, you know what, I can't be on top of my recruiters. I can't expect them greatness out of them 24/7. Then we just become the different branches where like not making mission isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it sucks because obviously the recruiter is the one that feels the trauma. Like we put the blunt force in that, right? But at the same time, like you had to respect and the fact that they can be in a position where they know people are gonna emotionally just not like you.
Yeah.
And there's some people that they can't be in the job where people like resent them.
Yeah.
But they're the Marines that don't give a shit about that. They're legit. All they want is to make mission.
Yeah.
And you have to admire that because I personally cannot be that way.
Yeah.
Could never. I care too much about people. Not to say that they don't care about people, because they know that inherently by not caring as much, they care about the whole Marine Corps to go. So are they caring about you? Might not look like it, but they do because the Marine Corps needs to go.
Dude, it's
a mature take to that's how I feel.
No,
I hated it.
Like what you're saying is perfect because like Gunny Ledbetter.
Oh man,
I hated that motherfucker.
I almost fought that dude.
Bro, I couldn't stand that dude. I couldn't stand him.
He's still there?
And yeah, he's in Germany right now. And the reason why I couldn't stand him is because like exactly what you were saying. I didn't understand where he was coming from as an 8412 and as a gunnery sergeant. I thought that he was just this guy who went off the rails, right? Which when you talk to him
sometimes
and when you talk to him and have grown man conversations with him, he understands that.
Yes, that's true.
He'll be like, bro, listen, my bad, I shouldn't have come at you like that. Like, hey man, even now, like me and him talk probably every day. And like he's one of the only 8412s or people in my life that reaches out to me and he's like, hey bro, love what you're doing. How are you? How is the family? And like the reason why I'm bringing him up is because like I had hate and discontent for that man for a long time, and a lot of people do. But then when he got out to Germany and I got off recruiting duty, me and him started talking, and he was like, bro, I had to be that way because no one else was being that way. He was like, bro, like y'all get all mad at me because I pop a kid on deck. He's like, motherfucker, that's my job. Mm-hmm. My job at MEPS is to stop this shit from happening, and I have to do that. And like, yeah, maybe I get mad. Yeah, I'd shoot your ass out. Bro, there'd be times that I was talking to him about this, and it was funny because he was like, nah, I didn't do that. And then he was like, okay, maybe I did. And I remember there was this one time I was a sergeant, and I came in the office and I was doing my job, and I guess like I didn't come in and say good morning to him. Oh my God. And it was like a bad morning, and he was like, Bennett, get the fuck out of my office right the fuck now. I don't fucking give a shit. And I was like, good to go, Gunny. And he said, good to go, Gunny? Motherfucker, you don't tell me good to go, Gunny. And then I went outside, I closed the door, and he was like, first of all, you don't slam my fucking door. And then like 5 minutes go by, I'm standing outside the office, and he comes open up the door. He's like, oh, hey, Bennett, what's going on, man? You want to come in and sit down? I was just like, do you not know what just happened though? And like I said, like, and Gunny Rod would hit me up and afterwards, and he'd be like, hey, listen, man, like, me and Gunny Ledbetter talked, and hey, man, like, you're a good dude, but he wants to see you succeed, and he's treating you this way because you need to be better. Like, bro, I don't know how many times I just had him destroy my life mentally, physically, and emotionally. And then afterwards, he'd be like, "Hey, listen, man, like it was because of this. It was because of this. It was because of this." So I feel what you're saying is that like there's a lot of 12s that gotta be that way, but they don't ever explain it. You know what I mean? And it's like kind of being a dad. Like you're looking out for your child, looking out for your son, and you're telling him like, hey, don't do that, and he thinks like, yo, my dad's just a dick, bro. And then he doesn't understand like, no, it's actually because I'm telling you. Know what I mean?
It's like he's a certain type of person to be 12, and it's a thankless job. I feel like sometimes, and I'm not here trying to advocate like, oh, forgive me for 12s because I'm not saying they're all great or anything like that. But at the same time, it's like I had an experience with Gunny Ledbetter where he like legit was like chewing me out type thing off of something really small, and I'm like, yo, no, you're not gonna talk to me this way, so I'm not in parade rush. You didn't talk to me a certain way, like, you know what I mean? That's who I am, right? And it goes from that to then he asked me like, he probably thought I sucked, he never knew me, and he asked me, yo, how many contracts yours? And I wrote 4, and then the whole conversation switched. Then he was like, oh, okay, well, listen, man, the reason I'm talking the same thing, like, he'll give you the bad, but it's because, like you said, like no one's like that. He has to be that way, but because you knew Gunny Ledbetter was up there. Tell me you didn't spend a fucking 2 hours prepping your kid.
Yeah.
Now people don't prep their kids to go to meth like that.
You're not
wrong. Because you knew Ledbetter was up there. You knew that, yo, bro, I cannot. I have to prep the fuck out of this kid.
It was the same thing with Gunny Odom.
Yeah, but a lot of people.
It's like, bro, like because you're not wrong. Like when you have like because like listen, I love Gunny Rod. But when you had kids that were going up on deck, you would always call and be like, "Hey, can you let her in today?"
Yes.
And he'd be like, "Nah, all right, word. Okay, now I know. Now I know how this conversation gotta go." But if Gunny Ledbetter's at Mets and he's the one closing up shop today, you. And if it's shipping Friday and Gunny Ledbetter's not on leave, okay, well now I gotta have a totally different conversation because I have to, talk to my kids about what's about to happen at Mets. You know what I mean? And not saying that we coach them because that's not allowed. We can't do that.
Yeah, it's not coaching.
But
it's just letting them understand that words mean things.
Yeah,
a lot of kids don't think that words mean things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's the thing. You're right, bro. I remember one time where I never forget this shit. It was Gunny. It was no. So I had this kid going up to Meps, man, and he's in the Marine Corps now. He's a scout sniper, and kid's going up to Meps. He's going up to ship, and he's going to Brooklyn Meps, and I'm sitting in the office and he's getting his quick, like his last minute brief, and Sergeant Hibbert is going through the package with him, and the kid he looks at it, and Hibbert just goes, "Hey man, what's that scar on your elbow?" And Hibbert sees in the record that there's nothing wrong with the kid. Like the kid has nothing wrong with him. He went clear Meps, whatever. He was a police for like 3-4 months. And Hibbert's like, "Hey man, what's wrong with your arm?" And the kid's like, "Oh, I broke my arm when I was like 14." And Hibbert's like, "Really?" Because it doesn't say anything about that here. Like, are you sure? And immediately the kid's like, "Yeah, bro, I broke my arm. This, and the third happened." Like, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, in my head I'm like, bro, how did you never tell me you broken your arm?
Yeah,
like,
it's not even a big
deal.
Yeah,
it's not even a big deal, bro. Like we can go. So I end up freaking talking. So Hibbert immediately was like, "Hey man, like he's not going. Who came up with it?" So now he's calling ops. I'm like, I'm bugging the fuck out. I'm bugging out on the kid. I'm chewing his ass out. I'm like, bro, why didn't you tell me this? Like we could have done that. So immediately Hibbert's like, "Hold on a minute. Let me go upstairs and talk to Doc and see if we can get the doc. If we can get it today, can we get it reviewed today and whatever?" So while he's talking to the doctor, I'm on the phone with Freehold Hospital, and they're like, "Yeah." They're like, "You can come pick it up right now. I just found it." Luckily enough, it was only 1 page. It was like 2 pages. And it wasn't even a fucking break. It was a sprain. So now I'm like, bro. So now I had to get in the car from Brooklyn. I had to fly to Freehold. And then I had to fly back.
I know that.
And now, mind you, as this is happening, I got the RI on the phone. I got the ARI on the phone. How did you not catch this? Blah, 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 blah. And then all because of Hibbert. Thankfully, he had built rapport with the MEPS league, like everyone at MEPS. So I was able to get that through. And it's just like, bro, like the anxiety. And that's something that, like, unless you've ever been on recruiting duty, you'll never know. how like you think, like you said, you think, bro, I've done everything, and now this dude's gonna bring up a sprained arm. Like I briefed you, I talked to you, I screened you, I this, I that. So how does it feel now having this done? Like how does that feel? Like right now, talking about it, like reverse the roles. Like you just got a BRC, you just checked in, you're in New Jersey. Now it's behind you.
Man,
How long have you been? When did you get your ribbon and your like? When was your last day at
January
RS New Jersey?
January 10th, I checked out.
So it's been a month.
Yeah.
How does it? How has this past month felt?
It felt surreal, bro. The day I was checking out, I was like, man, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna be. They're gonna be like, nope, man. Like,
We need you.
yeah, like actually you got extended for 3 years. I'm like, what? What are you consent? Because it just felt surreal. Because you're waiting every day. I had a freaking a countdown every month. I felt like I only got 1 month left. I had 6 months left. I only got 1 month left. Just to mind fuck yourself. It was, and the way out was harder than the first 6 months. To be honest with you, man. I swear, bro, I felt like I had a target on my back. That's how it felt, and a lot of my peers felt that way too. But it wasn't that. It's just that they just expected greatness out of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I was good the whole time. They expect it to finish the same way, and I was trying my hardest, but just the way that things were set up, it wasn't conducive to a positive recruiting environment. And it's not. I wouldn't say. It's just the nature of the beast. It's going to be ups and downs. Always. So, but on the way out, I'm telling you, man, it was super stressful. You would think the last couple of months, like, what, it's gonna be, I just gotta bring my stuff to the table, which I was doing, but it was like it wasn't good enough when other people aren't doing it. So it was rough, but I was, now looking back at it now, so man.
Were you on production all the way up till then?
I wasn't on production in December. Okay. I was not on production. November was my last month of production. December I was not.
Were you able to give the new recruiter a good changeover, or was there no new recruiter to give a changeover to?
The recruiter was supposed to check in for me. They didn't check in till the day I checked out.
Bro, that's the fucked up part, man. That's just that sucks. And I get it for like the 12 community. I understand that it's not that easy to make transitions like this happen. But that's the thing that sucks, is that you're gonna have, like, you just spent 3 years in the same AO. You know everything about that AO. Now you're gone. So now that recruiter who checks in can't pick your brain, can't figure out. So now everything it took you 6 months to learn, he's got to learn. When realistically, if you had a decent changeover, you could have helped him not have to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But that recruiter, their orders got kind of fucked. So they were supposed to be in November, and they took their leave, which I think everybody that goes on recruiting should take their leave just because.
Yeah. It's the last time you possibly get.
Yeah, it's hard to take leave, and if you do take leave, they're definitely gonna blackmail you and hold it over your head, but only because, again, it's stuff they have to do in order to like get the best out of you. You know what I'm saying? So I can't fault them too much for that. But it's, I guess, like, finally being done with it. Very grateful for the experience. You know how boot camp is the best experience you never want to do again?
Yeah.
This is the worst experience you never want to do again. But you still like understand the benefits that came from it.
So what would you say are the benefits that came of it? Like, because
man,
and the reason why I asked that question, Ben, is because too many people sit here and say it was the worst time of my life. I didn't get shit out of it, and I'm like, bro, first of all, stop. Because if you didn't get anything out of it, that just means that you didn't want to get anything out of it, and you were just garbage. Because if you look at people, bro, there's people who take MC3 and MC4 and go create businesses and model it after that. Like my buddy James Adams, he's a realtor now, and he was a prior service recruiter, but he got out of the Marine Corps as a gunny and uses MC3, MC4 to destroy his competition as a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Flores, Gunnery Sergeant Flores, Realtor Flores, whatever the hell we want to call him, he's out there in San Diego, and he literally recruiter of the nation. This year he was recruiter of the Joel Instructor of the Year. But like, he literally talks about how the Marine that 3 years on that duty transformed his entire life because of his work ethic, but what he gained from it. So it's like, bro, stop saying you didn't get shit, you didn't want shit.
That's
so what do you feel you gained from this experience of recruiting?
I feel like if you didn't
experience.
I feel like if you didn't have resiliency before recruiting, and if you made it through it, you definitely have it then. and you understand the value in that. Just because, like I said, it is, and I was extremely successful as a recruiter, but this shit was still super freaking challenging. It was the most challenging 3 years of my career, and it doesn't. I don't feel that recruiting gets easier. You just get better. It still sucks. It's still hard. You just get better at it. You know what I'm saying? So, and you generate your own luck in recruiting. So it's just you working hard. And what I took away from it is, learning how to deal with different personalities. One leader that I think is like, this dude's phenomenal. He is a 12. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a 12, and I think he's a beast just because he can. If you got 10 different people with 10 different personalities, he knows how to talk with each and every single one out of them and like get the wolf out of them. That's Master Gun Spears. I don't know if you ever met him, but that man is just different, man. I'm telling you, man. And I don't care if I don't like someone personally. I'm gonna respect their rank and who they are just because, like, man, like, I know where we at. We're in the Marine Corps. This isn't some bullshit job. I cannot like you, but I'm not gonna disrespect you.
Yeah.
But Master Gun is, I personally like him as well. I'm not saying I don't, but he's he's one of those dudes that somebody I learned from. You know what I'm saying? Because I see him walk into the room. He got respect from whoever. Even when he was chewing you out or telling you something negative, you didn't feel like he was just shitting on you, even though he was. And it's not like he talked to everybody in the same way. He didn't, because you have a lot of leaders, especially leaders that like are in, first sergeant, major, stuff like that, and that avenue where they treat everybody the same. I don't care that this is how you learn or this is how you respond to whatever. You can respond to how I talk. Whereas Master Guns, I've seen firsthand, talk to people, different types of people, and be able to get one-on-one on them, and the person will trust Master Guns to talk to him about this and that, and he does it different. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I took away from recruiting, and the biggest thing really is just again learning how to work under stress. Because now, when I'm in the fleet, I'm in aviation. I have a workload, a bunch of different things I have to do. Right, I have Marines under me. If a Marine, God forbid, gets a DUI or something like that, I'm not gonna fucking oh my god, man, my Marine got a DUI. I've had kids get a boot camp and fucking pop or something. I had a kid. You have kids that before the day is supposed to ship to boot camp, not going no more. That's way worse to me. Like the gut feeling you get, that DUI is not gonna give me that no more.
Yeah.
The he's a Marine.
Yeah.
He's not a kid that needs to go to boot camp. This is a Marine. He fucked up, not me. So when I go with him to talk to the Sergeant Major, CEO, or whatever I need to talk to, the captain, with anybody, I'm gonna be in there, and then they ask me, "That's why the fuck?" I'm like, I can talk to him because I'm like, yo, hey, this is a grown man. He went out. He made the decision. He fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? What do you got to say for yourself, Marine?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
But on recruiting duty, you got somebody who's like, bro, like, this kid didn't show up to the duty. What did you want me to do? Go to his house, break in, take him out, and put him in the car? Yeah, that's what I wanted you to do.
You were at that kid's house. Yeah. And you were sitting down with parents. You're getting that kid shipping. He's leaving tomorrow. Or in the fleet.
Or like when you have no shows, and then I go find him. Yes, I'm gonna go stalk the person who no-showed me because that's gonna make them want to be here.
Man, it's a Gunny Man West, man. Shout out to him, Gunny Barnes. When I met him, he was a staff sergeant and he was a recruiter. And
I remember him. He was
no. This is a different Barnes. Completely different dude. I know that's the guy replaced. I'm talking about different. He's Gunny Barnes. He's a beast. When I met him, he was so fucking chill. Staff sergeant, super chill. I was like, damn, why is Gunny Barnes? Staff sergeant Barnes so chill? He's staff sergeant Barnes at the time. And he said he was a recruiter. And whenever shit was happening, like it was in the schoolhouse. Whenever the shit was happening, like a student just having a student, didn't even faze him. And I'm a sergeant at the time. I'm like, damn, no, fuck, my sergeant, the fucking student's fucked up. Now I gotta go talk to the captain about this, like that. He didn't give a fuck about any of that. I'm like, yo, how can you be so chill? He's like, man, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. I was like, how the fuck is it a big of a deal? You know what I mean? And then when I'm getting up ready to go to recruiting, I'm picking his brain. He's like, man, he's talking to me about it. And I'm like, yo, damn, like, how can you be this way? I go recruiting and I learn why. 100% I learn why. Because that shit really doesn't matter. You're instructed in the schoolhouse, your student gets a DUI, you got told to or whatever. Not a big deal. It really isn't. Yeah. It really is not. Yeah. It's microscopic compared to the shit
what you just dealt
when you're recruiting the TCs of production. Like, where's this at? How many W's you got? Who's going up tomorrow? How many people you got going up this? All this type of shit. When I'm back, I'm back in my job. I'm not gonna have a call like, hey man, what do you got for tomorrow? I want to talk to my CEO.
Or like when you're trying to get vitals and you're trying to get docs, and they're like, why doesn't this kid have his diploma? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why? I have no idea.
I don't need to talk to them on these parents.
Yeah. Like I had this kid, like, oh yeah, why don't you have this? Why don't you have this? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, well you better find out. You better go figure it out. And it's crazy because like you see these things as a recruiter, and like you're like, oh, I'll never do that as a staff at USC. And then you become a staff at USC and you find yourself doing all this shit. You're like, bro, because you get it. So my last question would really just be, who is the most, I think we already answered this, but who is the most impactful person that you met on this duty that like really changed you mentally, physically, like really helped you throughout this span of 3 years?
Well,
or was there different ones?
I don't think that someone really helped change. My mentality didn't change from beginning to end in boot camp in regards to how I care about. I mean, boot camp. I'm recruiting in regards to like who I am, the type of leader I am. People that I cared about a lot that made it more tolerable. You know, you, Jackman, the other guys in my office. They made it tolerable, but in regards to impact, I already give a shit about being a Marine and about other Marines, so nothing changed with that. In regards to like the leadership things, I already treated the Marines differently depending on what they react to, just because I feel like that's a good type of leadership. Being able to you got to read the room, you got to be able to see what type of Marine, like what is this person gonna react to, like if I yell at this person, is that gonna shut them off, or is it gonna like motivate them? I've always been that way, but I don't really there's not really a single person that I look at and I say, I did learn a lot of people that I don't want to be like, because I feel like it's a great part of leadership where you look at somebody, I don't want to be like that guy, don't want to be like that guy, don't want to be like that guy, don't like when he did this.
Yeah.
I have a lot of that happened at a recruiting but at the same time, only because I can't bring that into the fleet.
Yeah.
On recruiting duty, they have to be that way. A CEO has to be on your dick, bro. If he's not, then he's gonna get fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing. Everybody's gonna be a certain way because they have to be that way. When I get one thing that for some reason there's some people that feel like they like to ask recruiters, hey, if you were in the fleet, would you do this? You can't ask that on recruiting duty because it's not the fleet. You know what I'm saying? If you have a Marine that showed up late on recruiting duty, you're not going to treat it like he's in the fleet. You have to talk to the person and find out why like that. Is it a trend? All this different type of stuff. Yeah. What is going on? It's so many different ways. Different ways you got to. Obviously, it's not acceptable in the fleet or here to show up late. But why are you showing up late? What's going on? It's not like it's not a lance corporal showing up because he fucking slept in and fucking has to come into to work and just sweep or something. No, it's different things. So you got to find out what's going on. That's one thing I like about, like I said, Master Gun Spirit. That's what he's one of the person that took something from, because when he talks to a Marine that could be in trouble or doing something wrong, he's not. He has a certain way about how he goes to where he's trying to figure out what's going on. Or like it's like in the fleet, if I'm a sergeant, you're Master Guns, right? I fucking my stress goes the way up, and I'm like, you know what, man, fuck this. I don't want to worry. I'm not doing this. In the fleet, Master Guns gonna fucking light you up. You're fucked, right? Here, recruiting duty, Master Guns will step back. Yo, whoa. Take it easy. Find out what's going on. You can't. First of all, respect me. I'm not telling you shut the fuck up. I'm not telling you I'm not working, right? So this other guy, hold on. Take 5 minutes real quick. Come in, they'll talk. Find out the Marine's super stressed out. This and that. He'll tell his staff, yo, hey man, get this Marine the day off. Tell him to come to my office tomorrow morning at this time. We'll talk again. Something like that. That's not gonna happen in the fleet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't tell a Marine, hey, what would you do in the fleet? Recruiting duty. It's not the fleet, bro. It's nothing. Recruiting is not the Marine Corps. So you can't treat it like that. Yeah. But people, there's senior leadership that want to do that. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, for people that I have people that I care about. Like I said, you helped me a lot during recruiting, and one big thing when I get back to the fleet that I feel like I already did, but I'm gonna do it like in a better, greater capacity is being able to interact with the Marines and get the wisdom out of all of them. I was already pretty good at like just talking to people, and I always believe in making friends, not enemies. That's why I never had any competition with any Marine in the RS. I always like wanted to get to know them because I'd rather have friends, not enemies, because that means you get connects. That's why I've always been about that.
Yeah.
That's why when recruiting, I thought it was gonna be like successful, and I was decent. I would say
Yeah.
decent.
But you also, bro, you went through a lot, and you were still successful. Like I can only imagine where you would have been if you didn't go through what you went through. But then at the same time, you wouldn't have learned what you learned, and you wouldn't appreciate what you appreciate. So, like your mom said, it all happened for a reason.
Facts. One thing
And I like what you said before about generating your own luck.
Yeah.
Because like first of all, I've never used that. I like it, and I've never heard it. Because the reality of it is like people, you know, we've said this before. Like people say, "Hey, man, you know, recruiting is all about luck." Listen, this is my take on it. Is recruiting duty about luck? Yes, but if I get lucky and I don't have the skill to do what I have to do, well, then it doesn't matter that I got lucky. Because like that day where you met the kid with the at Chipotle, yeah, you were lucky that you walked in there at the right time to speak to this kid. But if you didn't have the skill, you weren't who you were. That kid would have never became a Marine. That kid would have never done it. So yes, you had the luck, but you also had the skill and the know-how to go with the luck. So that's why I like what you're saying about generating your own luck, because you have to be doing the work to have the luck.
That's what.
Because if you just sit here and you're chilling, you're like, yeah, I'll get lucky. It's like, no.
That's that.
Like maybe you'll get OT, but
I didn't come up with that. Just that's from the book Fanatical Military Recruiting. That dude, he says that in the book. That book helped me out a lot in recruiting. But it's true. You know, generating your own luck means like if you don't pick up the phone and you don't call, you know, you're not gonna get lucky. You have to do that in order to get lucky. Yeah. So had I not went to AC, I wouldn't have got lucky. That's what I mean. You generate your own luck. Like you gotta do it, and then when you do it, the numbers say, you know, eventually somebody's gonna say yes. Yeah. The number might be freaking huge, but you make the number smaller, the better your skill set gets. You just keep the volume up, and then you know work on the reps, and eventually you find something. You know, I mean, it's just how it works. Some people get luckier than others, but some people, you know, just try harder than others. Some people have natural talent. You know, I mean, it's one of the things about recruiting, man, that they like to chalk it up. I said everybody can be as successful as somebody else. I'm a firm believer that it's not true. You can be successful, you can be a decent recruiter, but there's some people that they have the skills and the natural talent.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. But I think that I 100% agree with what you're saying. But I also think that everybody could at least be good. Like I'm not asking everybody to be a 2.0 recruiter, but I think that like in the order, like the substandard, like bro, one point I think in Jersey when I left, like substandard became like 1.67. Bro, like if you can't keep a 1.67, like come on, man, like are you really trying? And that's my thing is like I 100% get it. Like there's gonna be people who have the natural knack for it and the training, and they become fucking forced to do everyone. I get that, but there's also people who are fucking trash who become better because they, like you said, you know, my office, my people, I have to do this for me, you know, because how you were raised as from your mother and also the Marine Corps, right? So my last question, I know I said that already, but for real this time, what advice do you have for anybody who is on their way out here? Anyone who just got histed, anybody who's at BRC right now about what they're about to come into? Like, what advice do you have, mental, physically? Like, what do you got?
Biggest thing I could say is that I would say don't quit. Don't come out here and expect it to be easy. And even though you know it's hard, don't quit because it's hard. I think that's the dumbest mistake you can make because, you know, someone always has it harder than you. It's kind of corny and cliche to say. Like, even though I had it extremely hard, I'm for sure certain someone else has had it harder than me.
On the even and at this time that you just don't know about it because they didn't tell you about
exactly, you know. So
like, yeah,
I think that anybody's coming out recruiting duty should understand it's gonna be a challenge. You know, work as hard as you can. Don't take things personally. Protect your career. Work extremely hard. You know, because if you make it 3 years in recruiting duty, you don't get an adverse, and you make it out of here with that ribbon. In my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, when you get back out to the fleet, you know, I'd rather have you, you know, being in charge of something rather than the staff and CO that has never been under that stress or something. You know what I mean? Like the amount of the things you go through and the benefit that comes out of it. Yes, the freaking what you're giving up is great, and those 3 years will be extremely challenging. There's people that don't have it as challenging as others. Some people that go to different states, different RSs where the propensity to enlist is very different. I'm sorry, propensity, but um, I would say just don't quit. Make sure you do not quit. Make sure you see it all the way through. Um, Build the brotherhood, connect. Don't be a hater. Show love to everybody. Pick the brains of whoever you see is up there riding bones. Even if you don't have all hands or something, call the dude, call the office, get their information. That's the only way you're gonna get better. Like you have to try and everything you can. And there's gonna be days you're gonna be working 7 days straight. Maybe you're working late nights, all these different things. Um, you gotta accept that it's gonna happen and just understand that no one can stop time. That's how I got through the duty and boot camp. Like no matter what, like your staff and CO can't just hey it's 11:55 for the next 1 hour, for the next 3 hours. No, the 3 hours are gonna pass and it's gonna be 3 hours later.
Yeah.
So it's gonna keep going slowly but surely. The days will fly by, the hours will pass, and you'll take ass chewings. You'll miss mission. You won't miss mission. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing is just you gotta be an asset, push and keep trying as much as you can. When it gets bad, talk to somebody. Don't feel like a pussy. Don't feel stupid. Military one source is a thing. The first couple months I got on recruiting duty, I got a therapist in military one source for free. I didn't tell the commander like that. I did it on my own, and I got that. And I met with them during my AC time for like 30 minutes to an hour. I still produced because I did that, and it helped me understand, like why is it that I'm so stressed out right now? And they told me, well, have you ever sucked at anything? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anytime you do everything the right way, it works out. Recruiting duty, you can TC the right way, every AC the right way, everything the right way, and still get nothing.
Yeah.
So
that's so true.
It's a mindfuck.
It's so true, and I'm glad that you brought that up to NS and Campus because like there's so many people out there who don't think about it like that. Mm-hmm. Like you went from because the majority of the time you're a sergeant or a staff sergeant coming out here to sit on the gunny.
Please say your job.
So you literally just came from the Fleet Marine Corps where like everyone looks up to you as holier than thou. Like if I ask Gunny this, he knows how to get it. If I ask Staff Sergeant this, he knows the answer. He's gonna pull out a TM manual. He's gonna pull out this. He's gonna pull out this. Now all of a sudden you go from like a 5, 6, 8, 10-year staff sergeant, and now you're on a duty and you just know nothing. But the thing too is that like there's people who come out here and they're able to be like, you know what, man, I know nothing about what the fuck is going on. I need to relearn and I need to be molded. Then there's people who come out here and like, bitch, I'm a gunny. You can't talk to me and you can't do that. So it's very important that you remind yourself of like, hey, you're new to this world, and also adapt and learn and remember that mentally. Like, bro, like this isn't the Fleet Marine Corps where you've known your job for the past 10 or however long.
That's one of the advice I guess I have because when I checked in, I was staff sergeant, but in my mind, I was a Lance Corporal to the other dudes. Like I feel like we're all Lance Corporals except for the staff and CRC because we all wanted to get home early and we had to do our job to get home early. So I feel like we're all Lance Corporals. That's why I never saw Jackman as a sergeant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought we were the same rank. Anybody in my office, before I left, I had those 2 sergeants in the staff sergeant. I feel like we were all the same rank, even though they all been in like one, they've all been in different times. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I don't feel senior to you.
At that moment, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and that's huge advice because it's just so true. Like, bro, at that time in this office, like I've never really thought about like every time everyone says like, oh, hey man, the recruiting duty is in the Marine Corps. I've kind of gotten annoyed by it, but now that you're talking about it the way you're talking about it, I get it. I just think that we can't use that as an excuse. Like we still have to hold ourselves as Marines. Mm-hmm. Like we still have to be in standards. We still. Like, I'm not gonna say I haven't been in our standards, but like my biggest thing is like, yo, get a haircut. Like it takes 30 minutes to go get a haircut.
I think all those things that you're saying, that, the height and weight, all that stuff, is stuff you still have to do. You can't be held accountable for it just because. And then obviously as recruiters we get like upset about it, but again. We switch roles, how are you gonna handle it? Everybody always has a bitch. That's why I, as much as I can bitch and want to complain, I don't have a solution to tell people that were leaders at the time, hey, how you should do this. Yeah. Because everybody can bitch and want to complain, right? But how would you do it? Yeah. You don't even fucking know. Exactly. You know what I mean? How would you do it and still be successful? I should say, because everybody, you could just be this way. Okay, are we gonna make mission though? That's why as much resentment and like in this, as much discontent I can have towards the people that were in charge of me.
You don't know what you would have done.
I don't take it personally, and I can't hold it against them because what can the Marine Corps can go on if they weren't that way? Not at all. So I can't hate them, and I can't think that I can't call them shitty leaders, shitty Marines like that because it takes big balls to be that way. Because I can't, I too many morals I feel to be that type of way, and I can't. And so that's shout out to them.
Damn. Yo, all right, no doubt. Well, hey, thank you for coming out, man. I appreciate the hell out of it. Go enjoy your 2-hour drive home. But thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Good, bro.